Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Got a whole lot of events, whole lot of things going on right now, family. And we need to kind of give some true Hebrew perspective on many of these things. Now, something we have to understand is that the other nations are well aware of our awakening, and they are definitely they're doing their best to hijack this awakening. And we have to understand our position that the Most High is elevating us to. You know, many of our people have been trying so hard to be accepted that they want to latch on to any and everything, and other people as well. They want to latch on to people that have, some significance or, some prestige here in this society. But see, you got to understand, you got to always remember that the Most High's people, the ones He has hidden, those are the ones that matter right now. Okay? Those are the ones the Most High has called here at the end. Okay? His chosen people. Now, the thing is that the whole thing with this whole chosen people has just been kind of thrown around, just all over the place. Chosen people, chosen people, chosen people. And see, the other nations have controlled that narrative. So they try to oversimplify it. Oh, if you're a so-called black man that's gone through, a black man or black woman who's gone through slavery, you're the chosen people. And it's not that simple. You can't tell by looking at people today who's chosen and who's not. Just look at people in general. Okay. If you look at people from supposedly different countries, you can't tell the difference between many different people. You got the World Cup going on. Take a look at the participants in all these different nations. Just exclude so-called black people and so-called white people and look at the other nations. You see Arabs. You see Arabs who look like they could be Latinos. Okay, you see Arabs who look like they could be Mexicans. You have Arabs who could be Guatemalans. You got Brazilians. It's not the ones that are white or black, but the ones that are all mixed. Okay, you got some that look like they could be Portuguese, European, because everyone is all mixed up. So if the other nations are this mixed up, what makes you think our own people aren't all mixed up as well? Now, on top of the mixing, you also got people who have who've taken the bag, and have made an agreement with the other nations. And that's what you're seeing going on right now. You're seeing a lot of people who have made agreements. It doesn't matter if they were chosen or not. Some are chosen to keep you away from the Most High. Some of these people are chosen in order to cause confusion. So, and see, we've allowed the other nations to, they're from jump, it's always been about skin color. If you're so-called black man, you're chosen, you're this, or you're so-called Mexican, you're this, you're that. And it's like, come on, man. I said, it is not that simple. That's why the scriptures say you got to test the spirit. Okay. Now, what's going on right now? We're going to get into this in a little bit, but you're seeing like the whole thing with these Kanye, okay, and you get Kyrie, okay, and you're getting things with Brittany Griner, okay, you're getting all these people, and the Hebrews want to be relevant so much that they want to attach themselves to these people. They want to attach themselves to saying like there are people for sure. If you've been supposedly in this truth, okay, or you've been exposed to, trust me, if we've all heard about this truth for all these years, okay, um, they've heard it too, and I haven't seen not one of them come out and support the Hebrew Israelite movement. I have not seen one of them come out and speak positively about us Hebrew Israelites. But the Hebrews always want to run to them and defend them. You see what I'm saying? And I think a lot of that is because we are looking to try to be accepted. Oh, those are our people for sure. We got to support our people. Hey, man, you know what? If you haven't said anything positive, if you haven't expressed the fact that you're in this truth and that you're growing, the Most High told you how what His pastors are going to be doing. The Most High, you got to start, using Scripture to vet people. See, the other nations want you just to look at people's skin color and just accept people. The Most High gave us Scripture, and we can use those Scriptures to vet people because and that's kind of like how the enemy has infiltrated, because they made it seem like, oh, well, you're a so-called black person, so you're so-called Mexican, Latino, so you're in, and it's like no, not at all. So these are the scriptures I'm going to say right here that I think we should be using to vet these people and say it's not about us trying to. It's like our people are trying to cling to people in positions of power. Our people are trying to cling to these people who are famous. And it's supposed to be the other way around. The other nations are supposed to be clinging to the Most High's chosen people. But this is something the Most High put on me yesterday. And we're going to read a little bit about a story from Daniel. It's not in the book of Daniel. It's from another book, but it talks about an interaction that Daniel has. And you're going to see how the other nations react to Daniel. You think that Daniel was going around clinging to the Gentile nations? You think Daniel was clinging, because he wanted to be accepted? So therefore, he was trying to cling to the other nations or their mindsets? Of course not. The other nations were clinging to Daniel. And that's how it's supposed to be here at the end. I am not concerned with trying to cling to, Kyrie. Oh, he's in the truth. Has Kyrie taught anything? Just because you shared a link does not mean you're in the truth. They're talking about Kanye being canceled. Canceled by who? He's always been with you. If you listen to his songs, he knew the truth a long time ago. Talked about how he gave up, he gave up like his soul for a Happy Meal. If you listen to that song Power that he has, it talks about pretty much like the black man's chosen in this white man's world. They know that. This is nothing new. So when you got like, oh boy, the song from DNA, Kendrick Lamar, and he talks about being a Hebrew Israelite, but that's as far as he goes. He doesn't go into any depth or anything like that. You see what I'm saying? That because these Gentiles, they can't go into any depth because they don't have the Spirit to. So the amount of depth you're going to probably get from them is going to be pretty much, yeah, you're a Hebrew Israelite, and that's pretty much going to be and if you're a so-called black person that went through slavery, you're a Hebrew Israelite, and that's pretty much about as deep as you're going to get with them, because the Spirit does not flow through them. The Spirit flows through his chosen, and that's how you're going to know who you should be listening to and who you should be cleaving to. But see, people want to talk about, well, Kyrie's losing money or Kanye's losing money. They're giving up so much. They're losing money and they're losing this and losing that. Well, if you are about the Most High, you wouldn't be worried about that money. You'd give up that money because you're going to get 100 times that in the kingdom. So money would not be an issue. How much money is necessary? How much money have they made over the course of their careers? You see what I'm saying? But they got everybody kind of like looking at things from a different perspective. Okay, so take a look at Jeremiah 3:15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. Okay? The pastors the Most High is going to give us, they're going to feed us, feed the nation with knowledge and understanding. So if you got people just because they play a sport, they rap, they do whatever, all of a sudden they're giving you a little bit of information. That doesn't make them a leader. That doesn't make them a pastor. That doesn't mean that they are in the truth. You got to understand, our enemy that's exactly what he's been trying to do, oversimplify this awakening this entire time. And that's exactly what he's been doing. So what you need to start doing is vetting people. You don't get you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're my sister, you're my brother, just because you're a so-called black person. I said it is not that simple at all. Okay, it is not like that at all. I was making sure my computer. Okay, well, let's keep on going here. Okay, so like I said, it's much more than that. So that's what the people in this truth, that's what you should be feeding each other with knowledge, understanding, and take a look at what's been going on. We've been growing more and more. We've been getting more understanding. Most High has been blessing us with more knowledge and understanding. So they have to try to counter that. They can't counter the information. So what do? They send some people that look like us, and they pretty much give us the same things that we've already known from. They gave us day one. That's what they gave us. They gave us day one information. They gave us information about us coming from Africa, slave ships. All right, slave ships, no history. Slave ships, you all came from over here. Slave ships, slave ships, slave ships. We brought you over here. We've controlled you. You didn't have a history before slave ships. That's all that they've been giving us from jump. That's day one information. And that's still what they're pushing today. You're a Hebrew Israelite, but you're a slave and you don't have any history. Or your history, the Bible is your history book, but the Bible only goes back a couple thousand years and you had no history before that. You see? Now, this is the thing, making sure that you're not trying to cleave to the other nations. Because that's what I see being pushed, in the media. It's like, pretty much now the Hebrew Israelite movement, is revolving around Kyrie and what he's doing and Kanye and what he's doing. And the new information, is kind of on a back burner. But like I said, the Most High said in 2 Corinthians 14, he's going to be given that new information. He's going to be giving deeper understanding. But what do the Gentiles want? They want you to go back to day one. Day one means they have more time. Day one means they have more time to be in charge. And that's what they want you. They want you to revert back to day one. I had a conversation with a guy yesterday, and he brought up Kyrie Irving. Hey, what do you think about Kyrie Irving? And this dude wanted to go, Kyrie, I don't know, losing money. He didn't want to talk about the information that he shared. And that's what I used it for. I said, oh, well, yeah, the information that he shared was totally true. And the guy was kind of like taken aback. Like he didn't realize, he thought we were going to talk basketball. He thought we were going to talk about, Kyrie, is he going to stay with the Nets? Is he going to get traded? Nah, we ain't talking about that. We're going to talk about that information that he shared. So I started breaking some things down to him, and you could just tell it was like it was too much for him. I said, and I said, and that's the thing. I said it's base information, a stepping stone to have conversations or whatever else. I said that's what, like, the vast majority of the people who are talking about this are still not talking about the information. They're talking about everything but the information. Oh, sorry, Nike dropped him, so he's gonna have to. I like what he did with his shoe, and he X'd out the Nike, and he's doing this. He might get a new contract with New Balance. I said, do you not see the times that we are in? New contracts and where we're going to be at 10 years from now, 12 years from now. That should be the last thing on people's minds. I left a couple of links yesterday talking about this new tetrad that is forming. That's forming exactly these like 2,500 plus days apart from the other tetrad that my brother Yaquab did videos on years ago, a few years ago, 6, 7 years ago, about this tetrad and how it's going to be 7 years since this tetrad has showed up again, and the whole thing revolving around Hanukkah, December 18th. We said, when I'm saying things aren't happening as far as like when the Gentiles are saying all these things in the news, things are happening, okay? But they're happening under the Most High's supervision, not the way the Gentiles want to try to portray everything. Yes, there's gonna, because they keep on having all, crying wolf. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen, and nothing happens. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen, and nothing happens. Trust me. I said the Most High real soon, is going to be dropping. It's going to be a transition. It's going to be a huge transition for the rise of our people and the downfall of the other nations. And that's what we're in. That's what we're moving into right now. And that's why it's really important to don't be wasting your time trying to cleave to these other nations. These other nations have made their beds. These other nations, and even the Israelites who've made covenants with them, they've made their bed. So don't be trying to get a status or trying to get acceptance from them. If they're still talking about day one information, hey, bro, you got nothing for me, because the pastors of the Most Highs, what are they supposed to be doing? Feeding you with knowledge and understanding. They're supposed to be helping you grow, to pointing you in the right direction to grow and to get closer to the Most High. We're going to take a look at something real fast here, because book here called From Sphinx to Christ, an Occult History, okay, by Edouard Schude. I'm going to read a little bit here from chapter 4, the ministry of the prophet Daniel, okay. Nabu Nasir had automatically raised a sword, that he carried at his belt, but Daniel, quite unmoved, smiled at him and held out his hand. Then Nabu Nasir, conquered by a higher power, and scarcely knowing what he did, let the sword fall and gazed at the prophet, who had come to him like a divine messenger after his terrible dream. Daniel was bareheaded. Now, of course, right when I'm trying to do a video, my dog's gonna start acting up. Hold on fast. That's those spirits, man. You start to do something, and they start riling up the things around you, the animals around you. Hold on. Spirit doesn't want this information to come out, so that's why these things kind of happen. You know what I'm saying? You just learn how to when you learn how to read. Read the signs. You see it. There's spirits here. Don't want this information out. Then again, Nabu Nasir, conquered by a higher power and scarcely knowing what he did, let the sword fall and gazed at the prophet, okay, who had come to him like a divine messenger after his terrible dream. Daniel was bareheaded, and his black curling hair made an aureole around his lean, emaciated countenance. Under the wide brow, okay, the eyes of a visionary shone with mild but steady fire. From his whole person, there emanated a magnetism so powerful that the Chaldean was moved in the very fibers of his being. He was stupefied and fascinated. Then Daniel spoke. Okay, this is very important, okay? Hold on here. Blessed be the name of the Lord from one generation to another, for in him are wisdom and power. Thou thinkest me thine adversary, Nabu Nasir, but I come to thee as a friend on behalf of Cyrus, king of the Persians and ruler of Babylon. He respects the Chaldean gods, knowing that among them is worshipped his own, the god of Zoroaster. He will uphold the priests, guardians of the science of the stars, and promises them his protection if they show themselves worthy of their ancestor, Zoroaster, the prophet of the solar word. I, Daniel, the exile, the humble prophet of Israel, give thee this message and bring thee peace. Overcome by these words, Nabu-Nasir stretched out both his hands to the prophet. Blessed be thou in the name of the sovereign God, whom we call Eliu, and of the God who spoke to Zoroaster through the sun. I see that thou comest in their name, but the ancient gods who reigned here are vanquished. The world has turned on its axis. Okay. Through a power that is greater than mine, thou hast penetrated into this sanctuary, okay, which only the high priest of the temple should enter, and where I have passed a night of agony. Canst thou explain the fearful dream that I have had? I saw the descent of Ishtar into Hades. I heard her cry or distress as she called for Lucifer, a cry that is lost in infinity and whose echo remains in my desolate heart. Canst thou explain this mystery and that of the mystical marriage rites foretold by this empty couch, above which hangs the white dove, symbol of the eternal feminine? Canst thou do this, O thou who knowest how to read the dreams of men and the blazing thoughts of God? See, they knew who to go to when they have these dreams. Okay, they're going to the Most High's chosen, the true chosen. Okay, not the chosen. Maybe they have some Hebrews that might be in their courts that were serving these other kings, but they know that there's certain ones in that group that the Most High has blessed to get understanding. Okay, Daniel answered, "O priest of Chaldea, thou who canst read the stars, okay, hear the truth which is sister to thine own. The invisible gods." This is very important, guys. Okay, this goes with the 70 shepherds. Okay, the invisible gods, the powers of above and below, the creative gods with their feminine counterparts, emanations of their love, those whom we call seraphim, cherubim, Elohim, and archangels, reign in turns over the world and the nations. They succeed one another, okay, from age to age. But one single God inspires and rules them. It is in his name that the prophets of Israel speak. It is in his name that I humbly speak to thee now, for we are but the servants of his voice. Now, see, that's what's been going on. That's what's been hidden, is that these other entities get their opportunity to rule the world, but ultimately the Most High rules them. And I was having a conversation, and we were talking about evil, and the Most High creating, evil, and this gentleman brought up Job. And he's like, well, it just shows that he was pretty much saying that the devil wants to um, kill people or kill whatever else. He wanted to kill Job and whatever else. And but the Most High wouldn't allow him to. I said, well, that's because the Most High controls the right hand side and the left hand side. Most High controls all of that. Okay, he and the gentleman had a hard time grasping that concept because church has made you think that the devil is a free agent and can do whatever he wants, but he can only do what the Most High allows him, because ultimately the Most High is the one that's in charge of everything. So all these nations who have done all these horrible things, the Most High has allowed that. That was a punishment that we had to go through. Okay, it wasn't that these other nations were doing this stuff on their own. They were doing it because the Most High allowed it, because we had to go through our punishment. So again, the invisible gods, the powers of above and below, the creative gods with their feminine counterparts, emanations of their love, those whom we call seraphim, cherubim, Elohim, and archangels, reign in turns over the world and the nations. They succeed one another from age to age, but one single God inspires and rules them. It is in his name that the prophets of Israel speak. It is in his name that I humbly speak to thee now, for we are but the servants of his voice. Okay, and that's exactly it. That's why don't be trying to cling to these other nations. Don't be trying to cling to the people that they put up. You know what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden, all these people want to have interviews talking about Hebrew Israelite doctrine and how it's, the Hebrew Israelites. He goes, I'm a Christian. We'll talk about that in a little bit. How people talk about how they're a Christian, but they don't want to start to have what is it? Uh, worshiping like their skin color. It's like, hold on, you've been fine with worshiping skin color through Christianity this whole time. All of a sudden now, because Hebrew Israelites is starting to, the information starting to come out about who were the original people. Now it's about worshiping skin color, even though they switched skin color. They switched the skin color of everyone. They made everybody white. That wasn't a problem when they made everybody white. But now that the original people that were here before them is all starting to come out, this information is coming out. Now it's about people worshiping skin color. And that's a problem now. He doesn't want to do that. I'm like, okay, what a hypocrite. You had no problem doing it before, but now that you found out that these people might have looked like you, now you got a problem with it. I said this ultimate defeatist attitude. But that's okay. Like I said, we'll just continue. But like I said, this is important because it goes back to the 70 shepherds of Enoch. And we're at the end. We're coming to the end. That's why we're getting all these signs. You're getting these tetrads. They're showing you 7 years from one 7-year period to another. It's showing you that, we're coming to the end. You're seeing how society is falling apart because we are coming to the end. Those 2 videos have a lot of really pertinent information. The only thing is that they just, the subject matter of who all this pertains to is all off. Who, the tetrad, is referring to, who is going to help, who are the ones that have been at the bottom the whole time, who is the Most High is coming to rescue, who the Most High is coming to restore. All of that is all garbled up. But that's because the Gentiles are trying to be the ones to interpret this information, and it's not for them. The scriptures were never for them. If you go to Psalms 147, 19, and 20, it tells you that these scriptures were for Israel. And he has not dealt so with the other nations. They're not yours. So for you to get our records and then try to twist everything and make it seem as if it's somehow relating to you, that was one of your biggest mistakes, because you've done that for such a long time that now you can't even break away from that. Now that there's all this truth coming out, you still can't even break away from the fact that this information was never talking about you, ever. The Most High has set up these other gods, just like it talks about in the book of Jubilees, to lead men astray. So this information right here, this interaction with this Nabu guy right here, Nasir, is just confirming what was already talked about in the book of Jubilees. Which, as you can see, this story was taken out, and the book of Jubilees was taken out, and the book of Enoch was taken out, because they don't want you to realize that, the Most High has allowed, just like the book of Job. So it's kind of like a macro view of the book of Job, how he allowed the devil to do all these things to Job in order to test him, correct? That would be like the micro view. The macro view would be the 70 shepherds, who were then allowed to take down the whole world and lead the whole world astray. Okay. And then have us go through our punishments. But then eventually at the end, the Most High was going to rescue his people, restore his people, just like he did with Job. Same thing. Same thing. Micro level, macro level. Okay. And here at the end, as the Most High is now restoring our people and giving us more knowledge again about the technology that we had, the knowledge and understanding we had, the subterranean areas that we had, the openings of the hollow earth at the North and the South Pole, all this information. All of a sudden, we get people wanting to come back to give us day one information once again and have us revert back to that. And I was watching, I was subscribed to a guy, someone put it in the comment section, I already subscribed to him, Ace Live, and how this guy's been, he's been traveling all over the place. And it was just crazy that all of a sudden he chose to go to Antarctica. As we've been talking about Antarctica, we've been talking about We've been talking about this information in the opening and the Borellus and the Northern Lights and all these lights and everything else. And we've been talking about all this information that all of a sudden, after we started talking about that, he decided to go to Antarctica on one of his trips. And he's been actually going there and getting information and pictures and videos and sharing it and stuff like that. I just find it like amazing that we talk about certain things and then all of a sudden people kind of like, oh, you know what? I've been going to all these tropical places. Let me go to Antarctica all of a sudden. It just shows you how this is working. How the spirit is working. So he's actually in Antarctica. He's been doing some pretty good videos, giving some pretty cool shots and everything else about Antarctica. Good information. But like I said, this just shows you these spirits that are working, these spirits that are waiting for us, and they watch what we do. That's why they can only give you day one information, because this information was never for them. So as we bring things out, they react to it. And see, and a lot of the things that they're working with they're working on with their news isn't working anymore. It works on their people because talking about war, 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 and some more war. NATO's going to do this now. This is going to happen now. This is going to happen here. Putin's going to do this. Putin's going to do that, and nothing, because that's all that they got. They're like, hey, you know what, man? We need what. Big Jude hasn't been doing a whole lot of videos lately, man. We need him to do some more videos so we can have some more content and some more things to talk about. Because we need to talk about some more of his information, because the stuff we're talking about isn't getting the traction that we want. Because you said they can't come up with anything original, or if they do, they want to come up and make it seem like they're the experts of all the information. But let's continue. Thou hast seen in thy dream the first causes of all that has taken place during the bloody reign of Nineveh and Babylon. Ishtar, the first Eve, the astral queen, of the human soul, the seeker for love, is dazed with blood, voluptuousness, and death. She is sunk in lethargy. And all the prophets declare that she can never again find Lucifer, her lost archangel, until a god has been born of a virgin. It is not that miracle to happen here. Said Nabu Nasir, is not that the meaning of the bed of ivory and the white dove? Yes, your priests have also foreseen the great mystery. But not here will be born the Son of Man, in whom the living God will be manifested. Not here will be incarnated the solar word, which spoke to Zoroaster. It is in the nation of Israel, in that captive and exiled nation, that the divine man will be born, and all the peoples of the earth shall be subject unto him. Then what does my science mean, and my temple? The science of the stars and the vision of the soul are both divine, when ruled by the eye of the spirit, which is the love of wisdom and the wisdom of love. Guard thy science for future ages, when the science of the stars and the vision of the soul are united. There will be only one God and one nation upon the earth. That is why Cyrus has bestowed upon thee, Nabu Nasir, the rank of Archimage. I, Archimage, said the Chaldean, recoiling a step. Then what will thou be, Daniel? See, Daniel had high prestige. I guess Daniel must have been the Archimage at that time, right? So he must have had high standing at that time. All right. But check this out. See, is Daniel worried about his position in this world? Is he worried about his position, and his title here in this world? See, that's the thing with worrying about, giving praise to these people here in this world. Giving praise to people who are in positions of power, giving praise to people who have money. I said, no. I said, this world means absolutely nothing. Now check this part out right here. And so again, I, Archimage, said the Chaldean, recoiling a step. Then what will thou be, Daniel? The prophet calmly unfastened his scarlet mantle and let it fall to the ground, revealing himself clothed in white linen, and the white linen robe of the high priest of Jerusalem. On his breast was the pectoral in which blazed the 12 precious stones, symbolizing the 12 tribes of Israel and the 12 signs of the zodiac. See, talking about how these, the 12 stones and the zodiacs are combined. They go together. A lot of these numbers, numerology, a lot of this information about the zodiacs goes back to our people. goes back to um, the Israelites. A lot of these numbers, okay, and we'll talk about that more in another video. The priest reverently fell upon one knee before the prophet, who, in divesting himself of his rank of archimage, seemed to increase in stature, while his eyes glowed with a light of ecstasy. So he gave up his position here as an archimage here in this world, but he grew in stature. Okay? And I'll leave that here for you guys to read the rest of it on your own. Hold on. Or yeah, I'll leave the rest of that for you guys. So, and that's the thing. Don't worry so much about what you're seeing or who the nation or who the world here, you know, is raising up. You know, because he said is that all they're going to do is take you back to day one information, and that should let you know real quick who's behind whoever they're raising up. If they're not giving you any information, if they're doing day one info, I said, then you know that's pretty much for the Gentiles. You know that's coming from them. You know that's trying to stunt your growth, and they're doing a great job of that. They see the bones awakening here at the end. They see the signs in the stars. They see that we're getting close again now to this tetrad, 7 years apart. And it's crazy because I guess every single tetrad is a certain amount of days. I guess it was 2,500 something days. I don't know. I don't have the number on me, but the exact amount of days between each tetrad was the same amount of days, like 2,500 and something. If we have a chance later on, if Most High willing, we'll do maybe a live later and kind of come back and talk about some of this information. So, but I wanted to make sure I got this video out so you guys can get a chance to kind of look at it. Look at the books that said, look at all these books that they've been hidden, you know, that have been hidden. Enoch, just in this little section, you can see this Nabu Nasir book right here about Daniel, Enoch, Jubilees. Okay, all this information about how the other nations have been allowed to control the world for a certain time to lead them astray. And would that not be any different? Would that be any different now? Would they still not be trying to lead the world astray here at the end? They're still clinging to power. We know that their time is coming quickly to an end, but they are still in power. So therefore, the things that you're seeing, the people they're using to cause confusion, those are people that the Gentiles are putting up. Those are people that the Gentiles are putting up to cause more confusion between the Israelite awakening, taking you back to day one information. I watched a little bit of this video from the Gorilla Hebrew. It was actually really good. But Whitlock, he was the one that was talking about pretty much, you know, he doesn't want, you know, you pretty much trying to talk about the Hebrew Israelites and talking about, you know, worshiping skin color. And I was like, you know, I said the hypocrisy. I said, were you making videos talking about the Inquisition? Were you making videos talking about how they were going around and they were killing our people in the Inquisition? Did you go around talking about how the church was going around killing um, so-called natives when they got over here? You know, it's like they talk about us doing certain things or promoting certain things, what their churches have been promoting for thousands of years. They just get a pass for all the horrible, heinous things that they've been doing to people just because of their skin color, because they were not white, so-called white people, because they had pigmentation, because they were so-called black and brown people. That's all okay. You know, I said, but the whole thing is this. Again, they're using a so-called black person, a so-called black man, Whitlock, to come out and have these discussions. They're elevating this guy, Whitlock, to have, you know, these kinds of conversations. And he's coming out with his Christian, you know, Christian ramblings and things like that, just pushing Christianity. But it just shows you, you know, hey, they're still in charge. They're still trying to control the narrative. Are you going to, you know, let them control the narrative? Or are you going to understand, like, hey, I see the game. I see what's been going on. You know, the whole thing going on with a Griner. You know, I said Brittany Griner. Um, they control both sides. They control both sides. You know, I said this is nothing new. This is nothing new. Like I said, micro, macro views. Okay, so they let a so-called black person go. All right, but what did they get out of it? They got one of their big arms dealers back. You got to understand that they're getting ready to fight against the Most High. So they're trying to get all set up for that. They're not worried about fighting each other. They're worried about fighting the Most High. So they get this guy out to help, hey, get all these weapons, get everything set up, get things distributed, get things all set up for when the Most High gets ready to crack these skies open. And the whole world was crazy because they're all just happy that they let Griner go. And it's like, man, they were going to let her go anyways. I said, this is all just a setup for them to get what they wanted at the end. I said, this is what they've always done. They've always gotten away with getting things that they want. I said, they commit all these crimes. Their people commit all these crimes, and they get let go. Nothing new. This guy was responsible supposedly for all these deaths, from selling all these weapons and things like that. And he goes right. He gets let out. Israel, who hasn't been doing might have done some crimes or whatever else, but nothing to that extent. And they hold them onto like the same degree. Oh, that's fair. This person got caught with a little bit of weed or oil or whatever else. Yeah, okay, and this guy has been responsible for killing God knows how many people. Yeah, that's a fair trade. Go ahead and let them both out. That's fair. Nothing new, right? Israel gets put in jail for every little thing that they do. Esau and the other nations do all these horrible and heinous crimes and get off all the time. That was a micro, that was showing you the whole little micro view of it. But now you're seeing, but this has been going on a macro level. It's been going on a macro level the whole time, and that's just the Most High showing you. Like, hey, this is what they do. This is how they do it. It's never been about justice. It's never been about fairness. Okay, it's never been about that. So I just look at it from a different perspective. I just look at it from they're raising up certain people, and they want you to concentrate on those people that they have chosen to raise up at this time. They've chosen to raise up Kyrie. They've chosen to raise up Kanye. They've chosen to raise up Griner. And look, it was just a news cycle. They got what they wanted, and now it's just falling off the radar because it's all about what they want. It's all about what they want to show. They want to show that hey, we can pick you up for anything, any little thing, and we're gonna use that to our advantage. We're gonna let a guy who's killed God knows how many people, he's gonna get off. But that's the equivalent of what you do. I said, so like I said, this just shows you how crazy things are right now. See, when I was talking about Whitlock right here, talking about worshiping skin color. Well, these are the murals, right? And mysteries of the Maya. Was this a problem for you, Whitlock, when they switched all these what the original Mayas look like? Was this okay for the church to do? Because they're the ones that were ultimately responsible for changing what the Mayas, the original Mayans, looked like. This wasn't worshiping skin color at this time. You see, they're quick to just throw things out here, but with no proof. Or they're quick to excuse the churches and the things that they've done and these other governments. Because like all of a sudden, like they're talking about Russia wanting to, pretty much threatening to let the world see the what is it, the stuff they had in their cellars, talking about the pictures of Christ and everything else. Yeah, the whole, like we already said, the whole world knew exactly what the world looked like before we got put down. The whole world is totally aware of who the real Israelites are, and they're totally aware of where all this technology that was here, that they can't duplicate. They were aware of the ones that had access to this technology. Nothing new. When you got these pictures like this, Whitlock, was this a problem then? Was this with them switching all these pictures? Was that you know, was that okay? You see what I'm saying? Like all these things that they've been doing, all the things that they've been hiding. The churches have been hiding and changing all these pictures. But that wasn't a problem though, right? That's not worshiping skin color, right? By making all these white. Like you got the picture down here of white Mary and white Jesus, right? That was all okay though, right? The black Celts getting, hiding this information. That's all okay though, right? Whitlock, the people who were in ancient Ireland and ancient Britain. You see what I'm saying? And it goes, oh, two wrongs don't make a right. Well, we you know what? We want the truth. You're not just going to keep excusing the other nations, or letting them use, stars and whatever else people that play sports in order to take away, from the true crime of hiding who the Most High's chosen people are. They're hiding who the world is supposed to be cleaving to. Well, you got the murals here, the dwarfs of Uxmal right here. As you can see, the whole world has been on, Psalms 83. They've been on that Psalms 83 to hide all this information, all this understanding. This is showing you who you're supposed to be cleaving to, who the Most High is coming, okay, to restore. Ancient Chinese secrets right here. Even the Asians, they're hiding information too. All of them, the whole world knows. They all got these sellers. They all got this information hidden. They've got all this information hidden all over the place. So they know. And many of these other people who just, act, want to play the dumb role, that's okay. Keep playing the dumb role. There's going to be consequences for that as well. Israelite lives matter. Most High is showing you don't do not just oversimplify who his people are. Just like Daniel, the Nabu Nasir guy knew exactly who to go and ask to get that translation for that dream. Daniel was not concerned with getting his titles here. He knew where he came from. He knew he was going back to. He knew that he was a priest of the Most High. Most High said he was going to raise up pastors. They're going to give knowledge and wisdom here at the end. If you see these people who are talking now are not giving you any new knowledge or wisdom, that shows you that they're working and just giving you day one information. They're just here to keep you spinning your wheels, and you wouldn't even realize that this whole thing is going on in the stars if it was up to them. You wouldn't be looking at these events with these tetrads if it was up to them. You wouldn't be looking at the signs the Most High is leaving. It has left in the stars. I said our story is in the stars. It's been written there. That's why they've been telling you do not look at it, because it spells certain doom for the other nations. Again, and it showed you how this information about the 70 shepherds, about the control that the Most High had given to the other nations for a time, that information was in, like I told you, this Nabu Nasir story with Daniel is in Enoch, 70 shepherds. It's in Jubilees. And it's just confirming that these other nations have been given an opportunity to rule and reign for a time. But ultimately, his people, the Most High's chosen people, are going to be the only ones that are going to be speaking from the Most High, who controls all of these, these entities that are in charge here on the earth. They don't do anything on their own, just like the book of Job. I'll say all these stories are all intertwined. You get the micro versions, you get macro versions. That's why you got to go back to the rich man and Lazarus as well. You got the rich man who's trying to give you a little bit of information about the truth. These people are rich in this society. They are in positions of authority in this society. So the ones that they're putting in front of you, I said, are those the ones you're supposed to be cleaving to? Because they'd be like you cleaving to the rich man to tell you the truth. Or would have been someone like Lazarus, who was at the bottom, who looked like someone that you shouldn't even pay attention, that you wouldn't pay attention to at this time. Should he be someone that you should be paying attention to and cleaving to at this time. Time is very short. So now you got to decide, you got to be looking and seeing, like, what's the motivation? Who's controlling this person? Have they been, part of this world for a very long time? What kind of information are they giving me? Are they giving me new information? Are they giving me the same information that the churches have been pushing the whole time? The churches have pushed that you've all come from Africa, that they all brought you over here on slave ships, and that you don't have a history, and that you were never here. That's what the churches push. And you think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden that's what Kyrie pushed? But he didn't really push anything. He just gave you a link. And you know what I'm saying? And Kanye, he's not explaining anything. Just saying that we're the Jews. Okay, well, not all of us are Jews. Not all of us are Israelites. So what's your point? Even when he says things, it's all garbled up with some truth and some mess. Okay? So ultimately, you have a responsibility to study. Time is very short. Most High is showing you it's been a 7-year period, I think, here between those first tetrads and the ones that are coming up now. They're all the exact same amount of days in between. So, like I said, the Most High is showing you that big events are coming. The other nations know it. That's what they've been getting prepared for. And they've also been working to keep you from chasing after the Most High. And keeping you from, to keep on just chasing after a little information about a little bit of Kyrie, a little bit of Kanye, a little bit of Britney. Well, ultimately, you need to be chasing after the Most High and getting more knowledge, understanding of them. Time is short. All praise is the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom, family.